Just kidding, everybody. Hey, and welcome to the main viewer, everybody. That's what you're watching right now, not the LLAPy Awards.
Even more LLAPy Awards.
I thought it would be a fun.
Did he click on the wrong one?
No, that was just want to do a fun thing. But now I'm thinking that I hope, because I think YouTube recognized that song and didn't like it on one of the things. I don't remember. But that would make me sad if then it's like mad at this entire thing because of that one little joke.
But
that would
it
just
was less than 14 seconds, so you're good.
Okay, let's try this one. Oh wait, that's not it either. Anyway, you guys, you're watching the main viewer. We are joined by Dr. Muhammad Noor here.
Pleasure to be on the main viewer. Thanks for having me.
We've got, of course, Melissa Longo wearing her Lower Decks shirt.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I'm still looking for another fun video to play. Meteorologist Katie, two-time Emmy nominee, is also here.
Hi there.
Meteorologist Katie has some fun videos herself.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Do you want to see me
Yeah.
almost get struck by lightning like 5 separate times?
Almost? Nah.
Almost. I'm still good.
Thank goodness.
For now. Yes, thanks. We'll see how that streak continues through life. There's one guy, side quest. He was struck in life like 7 times by lightning, and when he died, his gravestone was struck by lightning.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, brilliant.
That was really bad luck. Oh.
Nah.
Nah.
Right? 14 seconds, right, Melissa?
14 seconds. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So let's say hello to everybody in the live chat. Oh, you guys, also, we're going to be talking about so much good stuff today. First of all, more news on the new Star Trek movie front, which is huge. Also, you guys, the Orville is like 9 days away. Orville New Horizons is coming. We're super excited about that. It's been, I think, 19 years, 19 or 20. I can't keep track.
Yeah, not as long as I've been alive.
Melissa and
what?
Muhammad, I was kidding. It hasn't been 19.
I was like,
I just rolled a bit.
that long ago.
We're also going to be talking about Strange New Worlds. There's some really interesting conversations popping up on the internet. People are trying to say that, of course, everybody's been saying Strange New Worlds is like paying homage to the original series, but suddenly there's been new conversation coming up saying that it's more like Next Generation. Some people even said it was a little bit like the Orville, but we'll discuss, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we can get into. Some cool Twitter stuff. Trekkies turns 25, and the Next Generation ended 28 years ago. So lots to discuss.
Jeez. I'm so bummed that it
Lots.
ended before I was born.
Almost so silent.
I'm waiting for all
I
the
know.
groans. I think I can hear all the groans from around the world right now.
Those aren't groans; those are grown-ups. that you're
Yes.
hearing.
Oh.
Okay, so Katie knows we're not really grown-ups. Hello to Glenn Iverson, David Gregory, Robert Kaiser, Chuck A is here, Scott Jensen the 13th, Faith Howell is also here. Lots of good fun. Melissa Longo is in the live chat. What a deal. Fran Iverson. We see you all. You guys ever used to watch, what was that show? Damn, now I can't remember it. It was like for babies. It was like,
Avatar?
oh yeah, Avatar now.
Yeah.
It was for, it wasn't like, it wasn't reading, Romper Room.
Oh,
Romper Room. Okay.
Upper room.
Right?
Never
It was kind of like a
watched
Sesame Street or something.
It was,
when you
yeah,
were
it
a
was for
toddler.
very little kids. Yeah.
And then there was the lady that would say, yeah, I stopped when I was like 20. The lady used to say, like, she would look through like a magnifying glass or something, and she would say, I see you, Johnny and Sally, and I see you, Billy, and happy birthday. And she never saw me. And on my birthday, she didn't know my birthday. So anyway, so that's what I felt like just now when I was reading off names. So so I hope nobody feels that way. Hello,
Birthdays
Melissa.
that-
Hello, Donnie. Linda. Sorry, go ahead.
I said your birthday's the day after the Orville premiere.
Right.
Right.
It's during AwesomeCon.
Mhm.
Very awesome con.
So everybody stay tuned for that party on the Orville day
Ooh.
and hangover for Ryan's birthday. Orville Nation is here. Orville Nation
Yep.
got the romper room
Hey.
reference. Good.
Ooh.
All right. Nobody else did. Everybody else is like, so we're going to talk about Star Trek or what? Yes. Let's do that. Oh, by the way, my name's Ryan T. Husk. You know Muhammad. You know Melissa. You know meteorologist Katie.
Hi.
Let
Howdy.
us. Oh, come on, Muhammad.
I waved.
Everybody else said hi. Okay. So, first things first, we've got an article here from our good buddies at trekmovie.com. And when I say good buddies, I'm doing air quotes. Our good buddy. I'm just kidding. We love
Oh,
them.
we like
I hate to keep picking on you, Muhammad, but you got really serious there. Like, Ryan, what are you doing? This is not. I'm gonna leave. No, we love Trek Movie. We love Anthony over at Trek. Muhammad did leave. Okay. So here's the article from our pals over at trekmovie.com. Carl Urban gives a Star Trek 4 update, says it's now just a matter of logistics. His quote is, I've heard that it's happening, but I've been hearing that for the last 3 years. Tell me about it. All I know is they're developing it. They're writing a script, and I know 100% that we all want to come back and do it.
Oh, that's good.
I know that's big
Yes.
news right there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of logistics and timing at this point. He continues. Now he talks about the boys. Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's definitely a will. So we would love to come back together and make one of those. I mean, The Boys is a great hang. It's a great show, by the way. A
Yeah, it
great
is.
cast, but Star Trek is also. It's just one of those, you just want to do it for the experience of hanging out. You never laugh so much as when you are working with those guys. And here's a picture of them giggling right here.
Aw.
So
Chris Pine was rocking that beard there in that photo.
Yeah. The previous news was that it was for sure happening at the end of 2023.
Mhm.
If they haven't started shooting yet, do you guys believe that it will be
Yeah.
out in 19 months?
No,
No.
Larry Nemeczek, Dr. Trek, has been saying this for a while. He's like, there's no way it could come at that time frame.
Well, yeah, especially if they haven't worked out the logistics of a shooting schedule, then I would say 2024 probably.
Yeah, especially with the fact that a lot of the actors are very high profile. They're in a lot of stuff right now. Like when it started in 2009, wasn't quite as competitive, I'd say, with schedules. So make it work. That's all I have to say. Just make it work.
Yes, exactly. I mean, so excited to see that they're all in. All of them are all in. That's a huge
Yeah.
advance over what we've heard in the past. So that's nice to see that. And it's nice to see the excitement around it. So
Mhm.
2 thumbs
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, in the
I
past,
love
they
it.
had to get Chris Hemsworth, and he was kind of like, hey, I'm Thor, man. You guys are going to have to pony up. And they're like, well, we only get like $1 trillion, Thor. So I'm not sure we can afford. By the way, Linda Anderegg says she never called my name either, Ryan. See, she gets it. Hi, Jason Cunell.
I love the last one too, didn't you guys? The last of the J.J. Abrams reboot movies. I thought the last one was great. I know it didn't do well in the theater for some reason, but I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. I didn't feel there was any issue with it. I'm not quite sure why it didn't do as well as expectations. I've
think
never
it's
heard anybody say anything bad about it either. I'm
Which
sorry.
one was
Oh,
that
yeah, no.
one?
Star
That was
Trek
the
Beyond.
where-
With like the
they-
blue and yellow jackets and the motorcycle and the Beastie Boys.
And they go through the
and Idris
fire
Elba,
alien.
right?
Yeah.
Is it where they crash on the planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like there
yeah,
was
I like
they
that.
sent the USS Franklin up from the planet.
Yeah. They're trying to
Yeah.
get the ship back into space.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I like that one.
Okay, this is definitely
I
time
like
for a
it.
quick poll from the audience. What is your favorite Kelvinverse movie? Just type in 1 for the 2009 movie, 2 for Star Trek Into Darkness, which was 2013, or 3 for Star Trek Beyond. 1, 2, or 3. Go ahead and put. Wow, Mohammed, you're quick.
Darkness.
A lot of
can't believe
people
that was so
said
low.
that Star Trek Beyond was their favorite of the 3 because they said that it felt the most Star Trek to them. But for me, upon revisiting the first movie, that one actually felt the most Star Trek to me, especially those first 10 minutes of the first movie was the best moment in the entire trilogy, I thought. And I remember my girlfriend at the time leaned over to me when it was happening, and she just goes, "Oh my God, this is so fucking awesome." And we're like, how did Star Trek get so awesome? I love it. And then,
when was this popular?
Before you were born, Katie.
I liked that one too.
Poor Katie.
I liked that one too.
I'm catching up.
I love 3. Oh, sorry. Please.
Oh no, it's good because like 1, it has that like reboot vibe to me, like it has the whole breath of fresh air into a dead corpse sort of thing. But 3 is like going. 3 just keeps the momentum chugging, and it just right from the bat and going on. You aren't there left with the will they, won't they? You're like, okay, they will. Let's execute.
That was almost. I
wasn't
going to say it that way, but I agree 100%.
Are we just going to pretend that Katie didn't just say breathe life into a rotting corpse?
No, just a regular corpse.
Oh, not rotting. Yeah, not all corpses rot. Okay.
It was like one of those resuscitation dummies at the YMCA.
Corpse, a mummy. Okay.
There we go. It was in stasis. They were like, you know what? We'll wait until the technology catches up, and then we'll bring them back.
That's basically what happened in 2. That's basically what happened in 2, where they used the blood from Khan to bring him back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember that one in the theaters.
Or it was encased in ice, so it didn't rot.
It looks like this is what we're seeing. We're seeing 1, 1, 3, 3, 4 from Chuck A. Nicely done, Chuck. Ever the optimist. 3 for sure from Pat B. 2 from David Gregory. Fran Iverson says 3. Orville Nation says 1. This looks very split, actually.
No one's
not
saying
a lot for 2. Yeah, only one. Only
David
Dane
Gregory?
Yoshida says. Oh no, sorry.
I thought you said David Gregory, but I might be wrong.
It's because you're a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, you're right. Yeah, nobody said 2 actually.
Oh, okay.
4, an unmade movie got more votes than the second one.
Very optimistic.
Ouch.
Well, yeah, I love Benedict Cumberbatch, but Khan he ate.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, they just slaughtered it.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Oh, I remember when they made the reveal when he's like, "I am God." Exactly, and everyone in the theater just went, "Oh, like, gosh, finally, we know."
I think we were all the victims of an it guy. Like, I feel like he was like everybody was guessing, is Khan going to be the main villain? And then Benedict Cumberbatch was announced, and they said, is he going to be Khan? And then there came a point where everybody was positive he was going to play Khan. And everybody kind of had their opinions on that. I certainly had mine. And then Star Trek tried to do a little disinformation campaign and said that he was Gary Mitchell. I think they leaked it out.
I remember this. That's right. You're right.
They leaked it out there on purpose, saying it was Gary Mitchell to try to throw people off the scent because they wanted that big reveal when he says, I'm Khan, as Katie says. But we're all like, well, they say it's Gary Mitchell and it's leaked, but I don't know. And then I think he was just the product that we were the victims of. He was the it guy. And I feel like they were trying to cram a British circle into a not British square peg. Square hole. I don't know how it goes.
Well, would the circle actually fit in the square? Yeah. I was gonna say, because the circle would fit in the square, but the square doesn't fit in the circle. I know, because I play with children's toys frequently.
It's on the size.
But the problem with that whole it guy thing is that they were all pretty much it people anyway, so they didn't need to amp up the star power to add another it person.
True.
They should have went for better casting rather than an it person. And again, Benedict Cumberbatch is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
He isn't Khan.
Exactly. Don't go with John Harrison. Like, just freaking go Khan. We're all here for that. We're here for the rippling abs, the muscle, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Katie, we've never seen this side of you.
Here for it.
Savagery.
It's so lonely in South Dakota.
Oh.
I can imagine. Get another cat.
I came this close this weekend to get another one. It was going to be named Fujita, and we'd call it Fuji.
Oh.
Speaking of Khan, do you guys see that the 56-year mission convention in Vegas? They're going to have a special on not Benedict Cumberbatch. On,
Ricardo?
On the original.
Montalban.
Oh, yeah, Ricardo Montalban. Yes,
Yeah.
I think I said Picardo, not Ricardo.
Oh, no.
Ricardo Montalban, exactly. And I think they said like his son-in-law was part of it or something like that too.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got a mass email about that recently, but that something to look forward to is related to the real Khan.
So
and we keep hearing the murmurs of a Khan mini series coming soon, and you can't help but wonder if it's in some way going to tie into Strange New Worlds. It's got to, because something we always have to remind ourselves of. Something of which we have to remind ourselves, right, well Muhammad? Thank you very much. Is that, and I glossed over when Melissa said went instead of gone, but I'll just stick to.
Wait, what?
Muhammad,
what did I do? Wait,
okay.
What did I say?
Well, I'll tell you in a second, but no, I guess I'll tell you now because I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying?
Which?
It's part of the original piece. I got distracted by the gone and went thing too.
Yeah. Should have gone, should have went. That's all it was.
Gone, should have went. Wait.
Just like I ended in a preposition, I said of, and I'm always like, oh God, it just doesn't sound right to say it the correct way.
That sounds right the correct way.
Sorry.
But Muhammad, what were we talking about before I destroyed our conversation?
I got distracted by the gone went thing too. Sorry.
Okay, Khan miniseries. Oh yes, got it. Okay.
The connection to Strange New Worlds. That's right.
This is what we forget is that Khan is still frozen. It's cryogenically frozen because Strange New Worlds is whatever it is, 6 or 8 or 9 years before the original series. So he's not awakened yet. So do we know when he was frozen? And if not, maybe the Khan miniseries will show when he gets frozen.
I mean, it was. I'm assuming it was like 1990s or 2000s, right?
Yeah, like right after the eugenics wars.
Oh, well, see, this is the tricky thing because, like, it depends on which version of the eugenics wars we use. Because now Picard suggests the eugenics wars were later than it was in the original series when it was 1990s. So now, like, I'm not sure.
This century is just gonna burn, is what I get from Star Trek.
Well, I guess we saw
that
in the first episode of Strange New Worlds too. We saw the century burning.
Yeah. Well, there's not much hope for us.
Yeah.
Well, is it the 1990s or the 2090s?
It was. I'm pretty sure in the original series it was 1990s that they'd said.
Oh, because they're because it's like,
because it was recorded in 1960. Like, so like that sounded really far away.
So far away.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it'll never happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like Big Brother, predicting 2000 was whatever was supposed to happen in that book.
Yeah.
It's like the Simpsons trying to predict everything in the future.
Yeah, now people are like faking the Simpsons predictions and we're running with it. We're like, whoa, the Simpsons predicted this too. And then like 1.5 hours later, there'll be like a fact check that's like, no, somebody was just really quick to create the Simpsons thing. Scott Jensen gives us a couple good comments. He says the third movie was the one that didn't spend the whole time winking at the camera. And he also says that, yes, Khan is frozen during Strange New Worlds.
I guess we don't know when Khan was thawed in the Kelvin timeline, because we know he was thawed early in the Kelvin timeline than in the Prime timeline.
So that is well thought out, Muhammad.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a weirdness there too. So I guess it's also the question that if there is a Khan movie, is it going to be in the Kelvin timeline where it's earlier or in the Prime timeline? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So many options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near being able to piece this one together.
All I know is he's not a rotting corpse.
That is,
frozen.
Doesn't need to have his life breathed into him yet.
Wait a second, you guys. If there's a Khan miniseries, are they going to cast Benedict Cumberbatch?
Oh my God.
Oh no.
I'll bet that they do. I don't know, because they want to tie in the movies with the series, but
yes, but that would be bad.
Yeah,
too confusing. Is like Kelvin versus Prime then. Yeah.
Not that miniseries. Any other miniseries, sure, tie it into the movies. Not Khan.
Right.
A Jayla series, that would be cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'd be down for
recasting should be okay with that particular role. Yeah.
Okay with every role, seems. But yeah, I would. I don't know. That's tough, because we all think, yeah, get somebody, that seems to fit it better. Or, I mean, here's my dark secret: is I was just never really a Benedict Cumberbatch fan anyway to begin with.
What?
Like, I know that. Look, I know that women absolutely love him to pieces for some reason, but for me, I'm like, hey, British accents don't do anything for me, and I'm just like,
really?
I like French,
him.
Right? I mean, come on. Just kidding.
No, I just like him because he was in Lord of the Rings. I'm like, that's cool. He also played Doctor Strange Brew later on in Marvel stuff.
Gosh. Yeah. You've not seen Sherlock?
He's
no. He was Sherlock Holmes.
Oh,
but he's not, you can't speak for all women, because he doesn't give me the hot.
I can't speak for any women.
You can speak for me. He does it for me.
Yeah. No, he's a wet noodle for me, but I like his acting.
A wet noodle with abs.
I'm not touching that one.
Oh, really?
I
haven't seen his abs, but
yeah.
Still
anyway,
there are for me.
So many things that could have been said when you said Benedict Cumberbatch was a wet noodle. I don't even know. We will let the live chat handle that.
I went silent there. I'm like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, live chat. Let us know your interpretation of Melissa saying that Benedict is a wet noodle to her. And then you guys go have your fun, because we have no control over this. So you guys say whatever you want. Anyway, wow. But it might not be actually Khan that is in this series. It might just be his relatives. It could be, around La'an Ka'an. And or La'an Singh, but right, it could be while he's frozen, just a mini series around him.
It's just a whole mini series of people staring into a stasis chamber, like, "Oh, do we want to touch this?" A lot could go wrong.
Benedict Cumberbatch could play them all like the Spider-Verse, right?
There we go.
All the Zooms. Oh, he's not Khan Noonien Singh. He's, Man Noonien Singh.
There. Better yet, Brent Spiner plays them all.
Oh, there you go. And they all become Zooms.
Yep. That's about where we're at right now.
What's so funny, Melissa? Anyway,
Ew.
anyway, so we're gonna move on, you guys. We should have moved on so long.
We
I
don't
feel
want
like
to see Brent
this.
Spiner just ripped laying in a bio bed. I feel like that could bring in the gals and the guys and everyone else.
This all started when I made the Went observation. I should have just let the conversation go organically. So back to the movies. That would be the fourth movie. It's probably not going to happen. Mohammed, you said Larry Nemeczek says certainly not till 2024. That's as good as canon for us. If Larry Nemeczek says it, we can close the book on it. That's pretty much how it works.
Larry said later. I think it was Melissa who said the 2024 part.
Yeah.
I did.
So, but I'm just assuming like if they were talking about December of 2023, then that's just not going to happen. It's going to be 2024, possibly even later.
Yeah.
But do you have high hopes for this fourth movie?
I want to say yes.
Because
you don't necessarily have the pressure of, oh, this is a trilogy, we have to end on a high note. They're just going to be like, you know what, it's the fourth one. Kind of like what they did with the Shrek movies, like, all right, guys, let's just make this and have fun with it. So hopefully they'll go into it with that mentality and just have a more relaxed attitude and not try to overcompensate.
No.
You know, I like the winking at the camera that Scott Jensen mentions, because upon revisiting the 2009 movie just 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years, something like that, 2 or 3 years ago, I hadn't seen it for maybe whatever it was, 8-10 years, and then I watched it again and I was like, this is actually pretty Star Trek. Like they certainly tried to capture a lot of the nostalgic feel of Star Trek, and there was a lot of that winking, but I actually found myself really appreciating that, 10 years later. Especially with how much Star Trek continues to change from how it used to be, which is good in its own right. But when you see something that is winking back to the olden days, it does make me happy.
Well, and I personally like what each actor did with their characters in that movie. I really enjoy watching them, and I do think they were all well cast, as far as the main people.
Oh yeah.
Agreed. I'm optimistic just because none of them were bad. I mean, we've complained a lot about the casting of Khan, but the acting was great. The plot was pretty good. I mean, and that was, at least in my opinion, it was the one that I didn't like as much as the other two. So, I mean, it's awesome and good, and then back to awesome. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty good track record there. So I'm very optimistic in that sense. Also, Trek does have a good record with even numbered Star Trek movies. So.
Very nice. You're right.
That's true. Yep. That's true.
Star Trek Into Darkness. It skips a generation like genetics.
There you go.
Yeah.
Orville Nation, by the way, says, gotta love Katie. That's you.
Yay.
Fair point.
Miss you, PJ.
Yeah.
Aww.
Actually, PJ should come on our show one of these days to talk about the Orville.
That'd be
PJ, open invitation, message us so that you can come join in the fun for once. We love having you.
Yeah.
Is that a transition for talking about Orville now?
I think that sounds great.
Yes.
So everybody, let's talk about the Orville now. What is the news on the Orville? Okay, so we found an article from Collider, and it was pretty funny because it's not news at all, but what they did say was this: the Orville Season 3 cast and character guide. Meet the crew of New Horizons. Get to know the intergalactic crew of the USS Orville ahead of Season 3. And I was like, that is such a great idea, because even those of us that know and love the Orville, we haven't seen it in 3 years.
Right.
So I still remember all the characters just fine, but it's nice to see. But what about if somebody's just coming along and they just hear from their friends, oh, it's a great show, you should check it out. What if they don't want to go back and watch the first 2 seasons? They should, but I just thought it was very thoughtful of Collider to say, here's a guide, everybody. We know it's been a while. Reconnect with all your favorite characters, And so, and it was very...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
no, I was just going to say it's helpful because it did help refresh my memory. I did read that article earlier, and it did help refresh my memory because sometimes I need that. There's a lot going on, and it's helpful for a quick review.
Well, and I'll tell you what, too. I have a friend who is not into sci-fi whatsoever, and I told her to watch the Orville. I was like, my mom watches it, you can watch it. And she got super into it during the pandemic. And so now I'm like sending her all this reference stuff. I'm like, okay, here's what you need to know. Guide you, because you've only seen it once. You did one run through. I look at it religiously. So here you go. So all this extra stuff helps.
Yeah, it says season 1 of the Orville premiered on September 10th, 2017, right around the same time as Discovery.
Yeah.
I think maybe before, followed by season
it was
2.
Well, it was the alternate that a lot of Star Trek people went to watch the Orville out of protest instead of Discovery. It was a whole debacle. And
rather than
then
out
they
of
realized
protest,
it's actually good.
Yeah, they should have just watched it because it was surprisingly good.
I think a lot of people got caught off guard at how it wasn't Space Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would have been fine.
Yes.
It was interesting where it ended in season 2. I went and just rewatched the last 2 episodes because I wanted to just set myself up for where it was. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the second to last episode, what had happened is they had brought Kelly, like young Kelly, forward in time from right before she and Ed had their second date. And there was this whole re-falling in love kind of thing. And then they sent her back, but they supposedly mind wiped her. But apparently it didn't take. So they sent her back. And then she gets the call from Ed saying, you have to go out again. She's like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. So then the finale episode was like, everything has changed now. The Kalon have taken over everything. Orville's crashed at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and like everything is just really, really bad. But it's all because of this. Somehow, like Kelly, actually, I guess it's the same Kelly from that timeline. She knew this was true. So she actually went and rounded everybody up and went through the whole process. And they sent the doctor back in time, who was Cassidy Yates, too. Sent her back in time to mind wipe Kelly then, so she would accept the second date. And that's where it then ended. So there's still some opportunity for tweaks, but it kind of resets everything. The one interesting thing is that finale, Alara Katan was back briefly, just as almost like a cameo appearance. Conceivably they could bring her back for. I know the pictures you were just showing, Ryan, had her in there. But
had her in it.
Also, I've noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed too, in the previews that are online, there's some other character we haven't seen before. Some like blonde lady.
It mentions that in the article too.
Oh, okay.
That she's new.
Yeah, check it out.
One of the things that I really like is, it's 2 seasons in and they already had a character who left the show return for a cameo. Like they are just blasting through it.
Oh, yeah. But she was a great character.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked her.
Yeah, let's see. The new character, I think it's a blonde lady. Okay, so look, Houston Sage as Lieutenant Alara Katan. That's interesting. And they go pretty in depth, which is great. Oh my God, Lieutenant Dan better come back. He's my favorite character. So funny.
Well, and we get another season of Yaphet because recorded all of his lines, Norm Macdonald.
Oh.
Yes, he did, and that's going to make it so bittersweet to hear him again. They misspelled Billy Madison. Tisk tisk. Only one D in that movie. Jessica Shazor. So they're going to have 2 of them battling it out. Okay,
Nation
here's the new one.
And Winters. Oh, Charlie
there
Burke.
It is. So what's up with Ensign Charlie Burke, the new navigator of the USS Orville, and a new character that will appear in season 3? While not much is revealed about Burke at the moment, we do know that she is a human female who has the ability to visualize multiple dimensions at an impressive speed with whoa. Wow.
What does that mean?
Whoa.
Like, can she just see 3-dimensional stuff really well? Like her depth perception is on point.
Like an eagle.
Maybe she's instrumental in helping to reset the timeline to where it's supposed to be.
Well, that would be a fourth dimension, though. Maybe that's her magic skill. She's
For
like, I can
time?
see all 3 dimensions so well that I can kind of see 3.5.
I can see through time.
All right. It said multiple dimensions.
True, it does.
Oh, it says multiple. Oh, we'll see then.
Yeah.
Maybe it is time.
Maybe it is. Maybe she can see the
That would be
future.
cool.
Hey, I think I speak for everybody when I say new characters is always a good thing. Extra,
Yeah.
just bring in someone new, and fresh blood, adding new things and new characters gives you new stories,
fun.
new angles, new relationships. Like certain people are squabbling, other people are best friends. It just kind of creates new dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay. Orville Nation says, it is thought that Charlie Burke is a gentle poking of fun at Michael Burnham. Okay.
Oh,
Whoa. We'll have to see how
Oh.
that works.
Chuck A says we need Ryan T. Husk and Melissa Longo in the Orville.
Okay.
There
I
we
like
go.
where you're going with this.
Yeah, I love that idea. They've shot it all already, and hopefully they'll do a 4th season then, which
Yes.
we keep
And
hearing
then
from.
new characters.
Mhm. But I would love if Cassidy Yates, I'm sorry, what's her name?
It's Doctor something.
Finn.
Claire Finn,
Dr.
right?
Finn.
Yeah. Finn.
If she says, here, everybody, meet my son-in-law or my stepson. Yeah, my stepson. And it's Sirach Lofton walking in.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Amazing.
That would be
I mean,
so fun.
No reason it couldn't happen, right?
Amazing.
Although
Oh my God.
she's never been married from what we can tell. So to make that work, I think she'd have to get hitched.
Unless
Or they could-
Sirach is a robot like Maya Isaac.
There you go. Or they could just write it off as, yeah, I went to Vegas for a week. I was at this convention. Wink, wink,
We
nudge,
do not
nudge.
discuss it with
Got
outsiders.
married. Yeah. Got married, got divorced. Is what it is.
Yeah. So they said that she's never been married.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing with the kid when they were like, "Oh, you are a single mother. Why did you choose this?" And she's like, "I've just decided to go on my own. Never really found an interest." It's like power, man. That's good for you.
Good choice.
Mhm. Okay, so then so can't be a stepson, but something like that. I think that would be a nephew
From another dimension.
Yep.
Stepson from a
Ooh.
different dimension. There we go.
Yeah.
It
And then this
works.
new person can accidentally call him Jake at one point in time.
There you go. There
Oh.
you go.
Actually, Linda Anderegg agrees. She said, and Sirach as the doctor's nephew. Exactly.
There you go.
Muhammad, that is such a great idea. What if Sirach Lofton's character is walking with Finn, Dr. Finn, and she's showing him around. She said, this is the Orville. He's on for the one episode. And then some guy walks and goes, hey, Jake, what's up? And then Sirach's character goes like, what? And she goes, don't worry, he calls everyone Jake, like dude or man or buddy. Oh, okay.
His universal translator's off. Everyone's Jake.
That would be just,
That would be awesome.
anyway, we've just about written that entire episode now.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh. They can take that idea. Go. Incorporate it.
Nurse Sirach.
Nurse
Sirach.
Sirach.
Jason-
Nurse Sirach.
Put him in that
Jason,
tight white outfit that
There you go.
from Strange New Worlds.
Oh, I thought,
Lovely
I was,
callback to the cat suits.
I was picturing Culber, but yeah, same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
So you guys brought up possibly, adding new characters in the future, right? 4th season. Everything I've heard initially was that they were done after 3 seasons.
Oh,
No.
Oh.
This is what I've
But-
heard from all of the people that should know about these things. But this was a while ago. And since
Before
then,
Hulu took it out.
Yeah.
after. Since then,
Oh.
we've heard murmurs that are like, well, never say never. You never, hey, if Seth MacFarlane, who's going to say no, so I have no idea what the answer is.
It's like playing best 2 out of 3 and then being like, no, best 3 out of 5. And you just keep it up in the number.
So have you guys heard anything? Are there any articles or any
Nothing.
blast?
Mm-mm.
Gosh,
No.
they better. Like if they have everyone on board, it's such a high quality production.
Well, and having a new studio pick it up, you would think that they would want to run with it more rather than just pick it up for one season and that's it.
Well, not to mention all the advertising and marketing they're doing. Like this thing they're putting money into it, unlike Star Trek 3 or Star Trek Beyond. And it's just like, yeah, if you're going to put money into it, that's a product you're going to keep on the shelf.
Yeah. But what if the situation is just that Hulu is saying exactly that? Hulu's like, hey, we got money. Hey, you can take your time. This isn't Fox. We're not going to rush you. I mean, we'll nudge you, but you make great products. We'll keep giving it a home. Right. But then what if Seth is like, I just didn't realize that it was going to be this much work and it was going to be so crazy. Because initially he wanted it to be a half-hour show. By all accounts, that's what I've heard. Right. And let me clarify, I've never spoken with Seth. And if I did, he'd be like, can somebody get this guy out of my face? This nerd. No, but I mean, this is just, things that I've heard, right? It was initially supposed to be a half-hour show. And so maybe everybody's like, hey, if Seth is down, we're all down for it. And maybe Seth has said no, or maybe Seth doesn't know yet. But I was hoping somebody knew something. Maybe Orville Nation, let us know if you've heard anything with any of your major connections.
Katie, you mentioned about F-bombs. It's interesting. The show Designated Survivor started on a network and then moved to, I forget, either Hulu or Netflix. And it was shocking the difference between season 2 versus season 3 in terms of that, because all of a sudden there were like F-bombs everywhere. Like, what happened to these people? They had like a really rough summer or something. Or like,
that hot weather, man.
Absolutely. Oh gosh. Honestly, like I don't know if they'll necessarily go that route. Like it feels like they might be more the occasional, like what they did with Good Omens. Like there's just one episode where they end the episode and it's just like, oh, we are fucked. And it's like, because my mom watches and I can't say it on the internet. But it's like maybe just one or two here or there. Yeah.
Your daughter's awesome.
Oh, shucks.
Yes.
Everybody knows it. Didn't Data say shit in one of the movies?
Yeah.
Yes, and everyone lost their mind.
Wasn't it Generations right when it was about to crash?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. But the best one is when I don't remember, I think it was when they killed the Duras sisters or something, and he goes, yes.
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, Data. That's a mood, man. That is my mood right now. Did Orville Nation leave the live chat just right when we needed them to tell us any inside scoops?
He's typing a really long response.
Yep.
Yeah. Just a novel.
There is a delay, but I don't know.
There is a delay.
Yeah.
Orville Nation, let us know if you've heard anything, any inside scoops on that, and anybody in the live chat as well. If you've heard anything or if there are any articles, go ahead and link them in the live chat, because we're just bringing this up because of that other article, but I haven't actually heard or read anything one way or the other. But we would be so sad if the Orville was done after only 3 seasons.
Yeah. Especially since it has such a good fan base that has only grown while it's been off the air. Like how that's a sign of a good show is you are producing new stuff, but you get new people. And I mean, I personally know like 5-10 people who are not sci-fi fans who now religiously watch the show. Like that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, it's very digestible sci-fi. So if you're not necessarily a sci-fi fan, although I mean, the second season does get into some really interesting scientific theories and theoretical technologies. There were some really complex and interesting episodes in the second season. So I can't even really say that too much, but so far it hasn't done anything that's too over my head. So far, so good there.
I felt like on average, the second season was less slapstick and more sci-fi with just humor to it. Whereas the first season was very
Exactly
heavily kind of
that,
slapstick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It felt a lot more Trek-like to me,
Yeah.
the second
Yes.
season. Well, from when they landed on the planet in the first season, Isaac and Finn and the kids landed on that planet
Yeah.
or actually maybe the Bortus baby one. I don't know.
Oh,
That's like the
gosh,
third
yeah.
episode too.
Yeah.
I
it's
don't know.
just on average. I mean, like there were some serious
Mhm.
ones in the first, like you said, the Bortus baby one was very serious, but I felt like on average it was a little more slapstick in season 1 than on season 2.
And it
Right.
honestly felt
Right.
like maybe Seth was trying to meet expectations. Like, you are the Family Guy. Everyone's saying it's gonna be Family Guy in space. And so
Right.
he went from the whole, okay, I'll humor you, but this is my idea, sprinkled in his genius, and then got to season 2 and was like, haha, you're hooked. Let's go. So I think that's generally the vibe I got.
Mhm. You know, another thing it could have been is just that maybe he wanted to make a half-hour silly Star Trek sci-fi hybrid thing, then when they were forced to make it an hour and he starts kind of hiring his writer's room and he starts getting like these actual people that worked on Star Trek, a lot of that might have made him go like, whoa, we can actually make something more than just, knee slappers. We can make some cool sci-fi shows. And it certainly got its sea legs very quickly. I feel like after about the second or third episode, it really leaned more into being a sci-fi show with comedy rather than, kind of a mixed bag of comedy and sci-fi. And I expected it to be more like how it was in the first couple episodes, but I was hoping it would be more like what it ended up being. And so I was very happy with the evolution, very quick evolution.
Robbie did say that Seth didn't want it to be comedy going in, but that was where expectation was. And
good knowledge.
So well, yeah. But he's directed stuff on that show too, so he would know, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, okay, so that's good to know. So that basically means that he kind of had to lean into the comedic aspect to get the show that he's always wanted to do, probably.
Yeah.
Because we all know that he did a fan film when he was a teenager, so we know that this is a guy that legitimately wants to do Star Trek and loves Star Trek. And they probably wouldn't have done it if he didn't say, hey, it's like a funny comedy. And they're like, well, he can do comedy. All right, you're in. We're Fox, and you have made us a lot of money, so you got it. And he's like, all right, we'll make the first 2 comedies. And from there, we're going to knock their socks off.
Right.
And then they moved over to Hulu, which is probably a better fit anyway.
We'll get greenlit and then we go.
Right. Right.
Oh, guys, we've made it to the big time. We have a troll.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He's going crazy
finally.
in there too.
Watch. It's just someone standing out in the rain. It's nothing special.
Someone standing out in the rain. I love that.
Wow.
I don't see a troll.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
you don't
God.
see a troll?
Well, it's still there.
Naked
There's a sale
HD?
message deleted, but yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay, so that was fun, but I think that this conversation has just told me that before I watch episode 1 of season 3, I got to at least go back and watch the last episode or 2 of season 2.
You can. They're great. I mean, you don't have to, because like I said, the end of the finale, it kind of just resets everything. So it's I was misremembering that. I thought it actually ended with a cliffhanger, but not really.
It's like a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, very small.
Just enough that you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, they didn't actually go back to the future and see that everything was okay, but it was implied because Kelly did accept the second date, so it's implied.
Well, and you end up like when you're watching it and you're like, okay, there's a little bit of my brain that's nagging me, and then you see the news that it's not renewed on Fox, and you're just like, what?
Okay, well, before we go leave the Orville discussion, who are your 2 favorite characters on the Orville, Melissa Longo?
Oh, why do you have to start with me? Well, it's just difficult because it changes. It changes. But I will say Dr. Finn is up there, way, way up there. So is Alara. She's way up there. And Isaac, I really like Isaac.
Oh.
And I would say Bordas, but that kind of feels like a default answer. Because he's pretty awesome too.
What about you, Katie?
That was
I love Doc Finn, like seriously, with a passion. Like being a scientist, I kind of vibed already with her, but she's so badass. Like, oh my gosh. When she was on the planet and she was like looking for the boys and Isaac, like just that was a stamp of approval from my psyche. And then I also just love Ed because he's so beautifully flawed and we actually get to see him try to work on himself. And he's a very natural person. Like the writing on this is on par with what you see in real life. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I like real life writing
relationship. Just because
it's a messy relationship. Yeah, he's still in love with her. She's not necessarily in love with him, but then you see the emotions and it's muddy. And I like it. Which it's not the straight cut forward, like, oh, will she, won't she? It's like, well, there's kind of a middle ground. So
yeah. Well, there's still hope.
Exactly. If they don't end the show with them together, I will be so sad.
Yeah.
Ooh. So if season 3 ends without them together, then we need a season 4, period.
There will be a season 4. Yeah.
Muhammad, do you have a couple favorites?
Well, I think for me, the funniest one is, I can't remember his character name, but Scott Grimes is the actor.
Yeah.
I mean, that character was like hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Gordon. Yeah.
Gordon.
I love him as a character. One that I like a lot, but I'd like to see used more. He's really funny, but he's kind of a understated funny. Is John Lamar. I'd like to see him like brought in more and doing a lot more stuff, because I think he would be great. But he's slightly underutilized, so I think there's potential there.
Yeah, they did start using him a little bit more in
I'm a spaceman.
Season 2.
Yeah,
but
as chief
I think
engineer
they can
now
do
instead of
more
pilot.
with him. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't love the plots. I know Katie's gonna kill me on this one. I don't love the plots with Kelly and Ed. I don't know. I don't love those plots. Like it's okay.
Whatever you prefer. That's the nice thing. We accept in here.
Yeah. It feels to me like it was written to portray Kelly in a very negative light. Even though there's lip service to Ed having like been bad, it's constantly like, oh, you screwed up. And I felt that a little bit like watching the finale again. Like, really, it's all like her fault now. Like, really, like there's so much fault like falling on her when she made a choice,
That's what I hope they go back.
They
like as it
all
goes,
made
a
choice, because if she's looking elsewhere because she's not getting what she needed to begin with, and why were they not able to talk about this?
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like they put too much blame on her, which I don't like.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it should be more, even though there's lip service to Ed, it feels more heavily on Kelly. Like, I don't love that.
I hope that they continue to have that evolve, where you see over time Ed comes to realize, like, okay, it wasn't all her. Oh my gosh, I was partially. Oh my gosh. And like you just see him develop that, okay, I can work on myself now to maybe make myself the man that she wishes I was.
Yeah. I mean, he says it too, but then
I'm hoping on the future a lot.
Yeah.
But even if he does all that, I don't think that I necessarily need to see them get together. I think that's a relationship that's past, and that they work well together now, and the hardships that they've gone through can help them move on with other people.
Very mature.
Yeah.
What if they just like get together for tax purposes and then they just wait till they
A
find the right
domestic
person?
partnership on a ship.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
On a
It's
A
little
ship.
domestic
sketchy.
partner starship.
It's also
Yeah,
how,
like, I
how
love
often
Lucy
he's asked
beds.
her out too when she's his first officer. I'm like, she reports to you. Stop asking her out. Stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like
True.
you
That
forgot
too.
that Picard was always asking out Riker, Mohammed. So I think you need to self-correct.
You're right. You're
It's
right.
like a
Fair point.
season 8 plot point
Yeah.
for next
Fair
gen.
point.
Non-stop. Riker was like, Deanna, you got to tell Picard that I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah.
But he can't keep pursuing this.
Put on your commander's pants and tell him yourself.
Yeah.
We also have a better late than never newcomer in the live chat. Galenda doing her
Hey.
best Marilyn Manson impression, saying, "Hello, beautiful people."
Hello.
Howdy.
Woo.
There we go.
Hi.
Welcome, Galenda. Always great to see you here. And Orville Nation is back.
Good.
We were looking for you,
Hey.
Orville Nation. We needed you. Let me see. I'm going to tell you guys my two favorite characters.
Please.
Although I haven't thought about it until well, I think Lieutenant Dan, but it's easy. That's kind of a, I feel like it's kind of a cop out when people say my favorite character is Morn or something. Like, to get serious. It's not really Morn, you know, like
Yeah.
because I kind of like Dan the most, honestly, but I feel like that sounds like an insult because he's only been in like 3 or 4 episodes. Like, what about the other guys?
Oh.
I will say that I was very impressed in the early seasons with the Houston Sage's acting ability.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you see somebody young, you see somebody that pretty, you think maybe that she was just cast to be like, you know, the pretty, the strong, you know, she's fierce, she looks good in the makeup, it looks cool, you know, great. But I did not expect to have her for her to have great comedic timing as well. And that's my own fault for just assuming people are one-dimensional or, you know, she's a serious actor, because I know that she is a serious actor. But apparently she's a great comedic actor, and I didn't expect that. And I was very pleased. And when I noticed that was episode 2 or 3 of the first season, the one where they were in the museum, right? You know, where they were captured in the museum. And she and maybe Isaac or something are going to pick them up at the end. And the person says, "Oh yeah, this is my pet, you know, whatever they are, or whatever, dog." I don't remember, but she just looks at him straight in the eye and she goes, "Woof." And I know it's a minor, tiny thing, but I was like, she, as impossible as it sounds, I'm like, she nailed that one little line with that perfect look, the perfect timing, the deadpan delivery with the contempt in her eyes. And I was like, holy shit, this is a really good actor. The other one I was really impressed with was Adrian Palicki,
Yes.
also an amazing actress, but apparently she's been around forever. So that shouldn't be any surprise either.
Yeah. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
Yes. Oh my freaking gosh. Yes.
Oh dear. It's the S.H.I.E.L.D. talk.
I was really into that in high school.
Anyway, those were standouts for me. I didn't really jump on the Gordon train like everybody else did initially, but then upon rewatching the first couple episodes back in the day, I was like, oh shit, he's funnier than I gave him credit for.
And he was in Next Gen.
Right. I'd forgotten about that as a little tyke.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
with
Wesley. One of
Wesley.
Wesley's friends. Yeah.
Aww.
You can barely see him, except in like there's some deleted scenes you can find online that have him a little bit more depth.
Oh.
And, you know, actually with some lines even too. But then in the show, it's just like he's barely there in the background, but he's very recognizable. Like, oh yep, there he is.
Lots of love being thrown out in the live chat. Galenda says, "I love you too, Ryan." Don't know what I did to deserve that. Hope it's not sarcastic, but I don't think it is. And Faith Howell says, "I love Morn. Don't judge me."
Oh.
We all love Morn.
Yes,
I
we
hope.
do.
I hope. He hasn't said anything to offend anybody, has he?
Not
Not to me.
recently.
All right. So much more to talk about with the Orville, but we'll get into that in the coming weeks because, you know, there's going to be more information coming out real soon, especially when the first episode drops. let's talk about for a moment Strange New Worlds.
Yay!
Because let's see if I can pull this up. Okay, here it is. First try. Screen Rant. Our buddies at Screen Rant. And here is the article they put up. And this one kind of threw me for a loop. It reads, I should say, Star Trek Strange New Worlds isn't a TOS throwback. It's the new TNG. Taking place on the original Enterprise, Star Trek Strange New Worlds evokes TOS memories, but is the Next Generation a better comparison? And some people are saying, well, no, it should be TPG, the previous generation. But that's just cute Twitter talking, cute Twitter and Facebook talking. Melissa, you grimaced. Do you disagree with their assessment? Does it not feel like the next?
It doesn't feel like the Next Generation to me. I feel like it has elements from, the Renaissance era Star Trek, but I feel like it has its own energy, its own cadence, its own rhythm, its own feeling. So I don't necessarily think it's comparable to TNG. Not that one is better than the other. It's just it's got its own stories to tell, and I think it's telling it, and I think it's got its own characters with its own relationships, and so it doesn't feel like TNG to me.
Okay, well, I'm just looking over what their reasoning behind it is, because I didn't get a chance to look at this a little bit more, because I agree with you. It took me by surprise. But they say, for starters, Strange New Worlds is very much an ensemble TV show. True. The central triangle of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy aside, Star Trek, the original series, notoriously underused its supporting cast. The likes of Sulu, Uhura, and Scotty held specific roles and rarely strayed beyond those narrative boundaries. And Chekhov doesn't even get mentioned in this thing. So you're even neglecting Chekhov, pal.
Oh, poor Chekhov.
When the Star Trek The Next Generation first aired, main crew members possessed fully realized personalities, relationships, problems, and emotions, and this spearheaded a sharp focus on Enterprise drama. Strange New Worlds follows the TNG pattern, closely examining the dynamics of working and living aboard a starship. Okay. Makes sense to me.
And I have to disagree again.
Ooh, get 'em.
Because one of the reasons why Denise Crosby left is that Gene Roddenberry told her that the focus of the Next Generation was Picard, Riker, and Data. They were the trifecta that was going to be the focus. And then that only changed because Gene Roddenberry died and Michael Piller took over, and who is more of a character-driven writer than Roddenberry was.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then they made it into an ensemble cast.
Exactly. But if anything, looking at an ensemble cast, it's more relatable to Deep Space Nine than Next Generation, because
Voyager although Voyager was pretty Janeway heavy, and Tuvok, if I remember correctly, and then
Chakotay
later
got no love.
Chakotay.
Chakotay is in that list of underutilized people. Travis, Hoshi, but Chakotay
there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
What do you guys think, Katie and Mohammed, and everybody in the live chat? Tell us, do you think? I mean, look, we can all say though, Melissa, in Gene Roddenberry's intentions aside, Next Generation was a much more ensemble show than original series.
Sure. Once he left, once he passed away.
Right. Yeah. Right. But these guys, I don't think are talking about Roddenberry's intentions, or maybe they do later. They're just saying what it felt more like. Let us know in the live chat, guys.
They said from the get-go, all of the characters had been fully fleshed out, which isn't true.
I felt like it was, but I haven't watched the first couple seasons in decades. Honestly, what do you guys think, Katie? Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, please. Sorry.
No,
please.
I'm just going off of what I remember, because I watched the first few seasons and I was like, why doesn't Tasha Yar have more to do except for than saying yes, sir, or no, sir, or aye, captain, or they didn't use her as much. Yeah, she got it on with Data, but they didn't give her much to do. They didn't give Troy much to do in those first seasons. They didn't give the Doctor much to do, and I'm blanking on the names now, but much to do. Crusher. They didn't give her much to do, and Worf was kind of the same. He was in the background, and in the first few seasons, and I was like, I wish I could have felt more when Tasha died, because I didn't really know her.
Yeah, because we go back and think about Tasha, and like, you have Yesterday's Enterprise to work off of. You have all these little bits and bobs that were thrown in afterwards. If you think about it, yeah, her character, when her character was taken out, she was most well known for that scene with Data. And maybe the episode with the jungle gym.
Yeah, I remember her mostly for the episode with those drones that were flying around trying to shoot her and Data, if you recall that. I don't remember what that one's called, but the hardcore Trek fans remember that one. And they're like aiming and oh boy, we're shooting these things. But I don't know, Muhammad, Katie, what do you think? Is Strange New Worlds more like the original series, more like Next Generation, or other?
I think I'll go. Well, Katie, you want to go?
Go. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I agree with Melissa. I think it's really kind of its own thing. I mean, to me, it's hard to distinguish. I mean, yes, in this one dimension. Yes, in later seasons, Next Generation was more an ensemble show than TOS, and yes, this is starting off that way. So yes, in that one dimension, it's maybe a little bit more like Next Generation. But overall, I feel like the pacing of it is different. A lot of the aspects of it is just fundamentally different from all those shows. And meanwhile, it has things like, pretty clear social commentary, which both those shows had too. So I feel like any distinctions there are somewhat arbitrary. So I think that's all I'd say.
Yeah. I think probably instead of comparing it to just one, you have to really think about it as dipping its toes into all the different Star Treks. Because if you think about it, it has the outside of work camaraderie that Voyager had. It has that very TNG style life on a ship. You have this command structure, you have this, and then you have the original series where you're chilling right in the original series era. You have all the classic Alien of the Week, and they're bringing back the practical effects, and it just, and then the social commentary as well. And you're starting to get more into these sociopolitical commentaries too, hopefully I'm just hoping that it continues on that path, and that would be DS9-esque. I don't know what it pulls from Enterprise, but I think it's still fun. So maybe the food. Maybe they're pulling the food from Enterprise, but it's like everything. It's not just one puzzle that's being merged with another. It's bits and pieces from everywhere. And I think that's how it's so good too, is like they look at the past and they understand, okay, this worked, this didn't. Let's carve our own path with that in mind.
It's interesting when we think about these things. Do we compare it to the first 3 episodes of each of those shows, or how do we compare it? Because it's funny compared to the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
If we think we compare it to the first 3 episodes.
True.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're compared to like just Naked Now and Encounter at Farpoint, and then
right. But have you noticed
what an awful comparison?
Have you noticed that it seems as though Strange New Worlds has the most clear-cut example of what the show is going to be like than maybe almost any Star Trek series? Like everybody, as soon as they watched the first episode of Strange New Worlds, it felt like we all knew, we were all experts on what the series was going to be about. Everybody's like, okay, Strange New Worlds is going to be like this, and I love this. And it's funny because I fell for it too. I'm immediately like, after one episode, I feel like I know exactly what the show is going to be like, how it's going to go, what the structure is going to be. So far, the first 3 episodes have proven us correct, but I think that's amazing writing if you can do that. if you can show a very clear example to where everybody knows, okay, I get what this show's going to be like.
Yeah, you made an
like if
interesting
you
point.
think about,
Oh, sorry.
Okay, sorry, we're too Midwestern there. But if you think about it, you have the next generation, which I would compare to a human child. It takes a few years to find its footing and start to walk. Strange New Worlds is like a giraffe. It plops 20 feet onto the ground, gets up and walks away. Like it's like, all right, we're here, let's go.
Yep.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
it doesn't really need that fostering time period. Like they know who they are, and it's so good to see.
Ryan, you made
It
the
is
point.
good to see.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You were
I'm sorry to
next.
interrupt. I'm sorry.
We have a queue going.
Oh, you were
We should
next.
use the raise hand feature in Zoom.
Mohammed, go for
But
it.
you did want to say,
Oh,
yeah.
son of a. We got to get our timing. We're like the group of the most polite people ever.
It's fine.
Ryan, you made a comment on one of the previous shows. I don't remember if it was on Maybe or on one of your other shows, but about the pacing, for example, the most recent one, where the main plot was resolved and there was still like 15 minutes or something. I'm exaggerating, maybe left in the show. And that's when there was all these other things happening. That's unique. That's what I was thinking. I feel like it's kind of its own thing in that regard. None of the other shows have really done that so much. So that was interesting. I feel
like we've seen that. We've seen that in similar things in Discovery. But I totally agree that episode did something totally unique. Even there are things that were similar, but that was the first time that I feel like a short trek was tacked on to what otherwise would have been a 30-minute episode. And I don't know if that was the plan from the beginning or if they just had an episode and they're like, well, it really only goes 30 minutes. And you don't want to stretch in writing. You don't want to stretch out an episode that doesn't have a lot of meat. It's better to get a long episode and trim it down than to stretch something out. So this way they just tacked another storyline that they were probably looking to have somewhere down the line, or maybe they always planned to do it, but it seems like they might've just said, why don't we just put these two together? And whatever the case was, I don't know how they did it, but I thought it was really cool. I thought that the episode played itself out just fine, and we didn't need to hear more about whatever was going on there. And I thought that last 10-minute short trek or whatever it was fantastic. That was my favorite part of the episode. I was very happy with it. And it made everybody go, oh my God, I knew I loved him. I knew I loved the doctor. And now I know I love him even more.
Well, and I also feel like they've kind of taken their favorite parts of each show and made it their own rather than, it encompassing just one show. And they're using those favorite bits to find their own voice, which is really fun to watch. And
well, and that's another thing too, their own voice. It's not a copycat.
Yes.
And so often you see shows that are just like copy and paste, all the police dramas and all this stuff is copy paste. This is literally in a franchise and it feels so new. Yeah. And it's a prequel. Yeah. Like, how often do you get that to work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's not copy and paste, which is great. Which is what we want to see. We want to see new stories and from new characters. Like Ryan said before, show us new characters and the more the merrier.
Exactly.
I'd actually have to say that might be my only qualm with Strange New Worlds so far. I swear, again, we're talking about it like we're experts. We've seen 3 episodes, you guys, and we're like, this is what's great about it. This is the show that it's like or not like. This is what every episode's going to be going forward. But for me, so far, the only kind of qualm I had with it was, and this is extremely subjective because I realize it probably won't make too much sense, but I don't need to see, I feel like they're giving us too much of characters that we already know. Like, I didn't need La'an to be a descendant of Khan or to be a family. I don't need that. Right. I didn't need what's her name? Una to be an Illyrian. I don't need that. I mean, I'm sure it'll pay off. I'm sure it'll be great, but I feel like these are things that they might feel are necessary because they're like, Star Trek fans need to have all these tie-ins and there needs to be all that. But you know what? You could give me depth in other ways. You could say that one of them has a fear of heights. You could say that another one of them has a disease, that they know they're going to die in 5 years, or I guess that's similar to Pike's story. Or one of them could be married and they have kids and that they just have their own storyline there that stresses them out, or they're a new mother that doesn't sleep very much because she's always taking care of the baby. Like, there's so many things, I don't necessarily need those things. That's not really a qualm I have with it. But the one real qualm I have with it is, and I know I'm going to get skewered for this, I don't need more Spock. I don't need more Spock, especially like I'm okay with Spock and to a lesser degree Uhura too, because we got 3 seasons of Spock and Uhura in the original series and 6 movies. And then we got 3 movies of them reimagined. Right. And then we got Spock again in Discovery. And I'm like, it's okay. If you guys want to have Uhura and Spock, fine. But I really hope that the other characters get at least as much screen time or more than these characters that have been examined inside and out over and over and over and over again. And God love them.
Same.
But I want new characters. And I feel very differently with Mbenga and Nurse Chapel and Una, because that's the opposite end of the spectrum. We only got a tiny taste and we were starving for more information about them. That's my opinion.
Well, it's the way that I look at it is like maybe they're using them as tethers and anchors to the canon because they've seen like, okay, people like Star Trek, but how much of a callback do you want? Like it works well for the lower decks because it's just, that's who they are. But I think that's the only area they're still trying to figure out is how much Trek is too much Trek and new Trek. Makes sense.
Well, yeah, and it kind of makes sense to have Spock in this story because we did originally see him with Pike in the cage. So that kind of makes sense. But I also agree that we don't need to rehash characters we've already seen ad nauseum. We love them. I love Spock, but I don't need to more Spock because I want to learn about other characters too.
Maybe he's like the safe spot to go back to when things get like crazy and they start developing all these new characters. It's like, but Spock's still Spock. It's okay.
Spock's going to be in the Starfleet Academy series. He's going to be in Section 31. Katie Carr says Una is Jadzia 2.0. That is very cool. That's very cool. That she does have a similar blend of aspects to her character.
Our troll is back.
Oh, and fun.
Okay. Now, what was the other one? Oh, Linda Anderegg says, but we need lots of E's. Ethan Peck.
Ethan Peck is epic.
True.
It's true. Yeah, he's excellent.
Well, and his voice alone, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's very.
But I could just listen to him talk all day.
I love
all night.
See, you do. You are a sucker for voices. I knew it.
I am a sucker for voices, just not all of them.
That makes sense.
Certain ones.
So how would you guys compare? Well, I'm not. How would you compare your reaction, not the quality? Because the quality is going to be a no-brainer on this one. How would you compare your reaction to this, Katie? This won't work as well for you, I don't think, unfortunately, but maybe for Ryan. So how would you compare your reaction to this series as opposed to your reaction to when you first saw, say, Next Generation? You may have seen them around the same time, Katie.
Whoa. Okay. So looking way back, the first time I watched Next Generation, it was against my own volition. I did not want to watch it. I just, the TV remote was too far away and I was sick in high school and watching it in syndication. So I saw Star Trek coming on. I was like, oh no, change the channel. But the remote was too far away and I was too sick to reach it. So it's going to be a really hard comparison for me, comparing something that I didn't want to see, but was forced to, and then ended up going, actually, this stuff's not so bad. And then that's how I got hooked versus something that I was like, I can't wait to watch the new series. So what do you mean specifically, Mohammed? Like
I'm thinking like, so I remember like watching Next Generation when it first aired. I remember like, like I even got my parents to come watch, even though they never watched Star Trek before and they didn't really like it. But anyway, that's it's okay. But I remember like there was a lot of hype leading up to it. And I was really excited, like, oh, more Star Trek. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so that I remember that feeling when Voyager first came.
Okay.
Because by then I had become a Star Trek fan, like right before, and Voyager was going to be the new show. Yeah. So for me personally, comparing the excitement between the two, I think I was probably slightly more excited for Voyager.
Okay.
Just because it was new Star Trek and we were watching Deep Space Nine. Whereas right now we're a little bit more spoiled because we've got like 15 new shows happening at the same time. So we're kind of like, there's a new show happening, everybody. Don't forget. But I think at the end of each first episode, I was more impressed with Strange New Worlds than the first episode of Voyager. I feel like, but that just might be the place that I'm in life, where I'm not watching it as a kid or whatever. I'm watching it as, just, logically and critically and thinking of the writing and how difficult it is. So I don't really know, but I think I came away personally more impressed with the first episode of Strange New Worlds than Voyager. What do you say, Melissa? To Muhammad's story or question.
Oh, right. I remember watching TNG with my older sister, so I didn't have a choice to watch it either because she had the remote. Because she's older
Star
than me.
Star Trek is all about who's got the remote, basically.
Right. I didn't have any siblings, so for me it was easy.
Nice.
But I do remember enjoying the stories, and when I did watch them with her, so it wasn't, when she put it on, it wasn't begrudgingly. And I do remember her crush on Wesley.
Cute.
She was all about Wesley and Will Wheaton. Oh, Will. But and I was like, she's silly. Boys are gross right now. But I did go in watching Deep Space Nine from the beginning and was hooked with that. But I was also by then a stupid teenager and a closet Trekkie.
There you
so
go.
I didn't, it was not something that I admitted willingly. And then I didn't watch Voyager in the 90s. And I don't remember why, but Deep Space Nine was the one that I recorded.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Yeah, on my VCR,
Nice.
And then fast forward through the commercials, and
yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah. So
remember those times, Katie? Just kidding.
Vaguely. I have like 3 VHS tapes in my collection.
Wow.
Those are doorstops.
3 too much. But with me, like with you guys, it was TNG, DS9, Voyager. My first experience with Trek on TV was Discovery.
Wow.
And so I remember sitting in my dorm room and in college and telling my roommate, get out. And I sat and I watched Discovery. And, having binged all the other treks, because, had no life, still don't, I was a little weary of the pilots. And you're just kind of holding your breath like, will it be good? Will it won't be good? And then you get to Strange New Worlds and I'm like, okay, same thing. And then halfway through, I just kind of let out a sigh of relief. Like, okay, they got this. It's good. And so compared to what other Treks I've seen, this is the most relaxed I've been watching a new series. I just, all the stress ebbs away. You're like, okay, I won't have to fight people online on this.
Somebody get Katie some chamomile tea. Star Trek's supposed to be chill.
You think.
Yeah.
Yeah, plug in.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point out what Scott Jensen said. He said, I'm impressed that you all had remotes. I was the remote in my house back then. I think we've all been the remote in our house before, right?
Totally.
Up, push a button.
Even if I was the remote, she was still bigger than me by 6 years.
That especially makes you the remote then. Then you're definitely the remote in the family if she's bigger.
Right.
Speaking of bigger, Chuck A says Nog was great. Not sure what he's referring to, but we will always point that out as
just
accurate.
why you recorded it on the VHS. That's why you only did DS9. It's for Nog.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Melissa has recorded all the Animaniacs episodes as a child.
Oh my gosh. Animaniacs.
Have you had the chance to meet Rob Paulson? Side quest. The guy who voiced Pinky and the Brain and Wacko, or Yakko. He is just an angel on earth. If he's at a convention, you gotta go and meet him. I want him to be on Star Trek. Like an alien of the week, he can throw his voice. I don't care. I want him to be a part of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Robert Kaiser says his first Trek that he watched was when it came out was Enterprise.
Oh,
Nice.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one too. As Katie sneaks a snack. Was that a graham
sack
cracker?
Of crackers. No, they're custom crackers from a restaurant back home, and they're just covered in salt. And I'm in love.
Mm-hmm. All right. Wow.
Yum.
Looks like we are just about out of time here. So
Already?
I feel like this is like you guys remember the late night talk shows where somebody would talk too long and they'd be like, our apologies to Mark Maron. We'll have him back sometime soon, but we're out of time. Or, they'd do something like that where they'd run out. I'm like, I feel like saying, well, our apologies to the Stargazer comic miniseries to bridge the gap between seasons 2 and 3. And also our apologies to the Strange New Worlds memorial pins. That's really cool. Okay, we'll show that real quick.
Ooh.
Check it out. They've got
25th anniversary.
Yeah, look at this. They've got memorial pins for Strange New Worlds where some of the characters will actually be wearing these apparently in upcoming episodes.
That's cool.
And it's the pins
my gosh.
of ships that have been destroyed in the line of duty or lost, I guess. USS Discovery,
wait a minute.
Show, Gallant,
Yangtze.
Antares, the Yangtze, Farragut. So that's pretty cool. So no apologies necessary to those guys, but our apologies to Trekkies turning 25. Man, remember Trekkies the movie? That it feels like that documentary kind of almost changed the landscape of Star Trek a bit. It certainly did for Denise Crosby.
Yeah. I read an article about her today, which is why I went on about that. But it was such a great interview with her and talking about Trekkies and so impressive. All that she's done with that. So
and our apologies to Star Trek The Next Generation ending 28 years ago yesterday.
Well, we kind of talked about that, talking about our first impressions of it. So we kind of got that.
All right. Yeah.
Light apology there.
Also, quick shout out to
oh my God, he's back.
Oh, that's not possible.
How do we block that?
To Jesse Bear on Twitter, who must be Ira Stephen Bear's probably son, says, thanks, Coach at Eric P. Musselman for stopping by Globe Life Field this weekend. And then he talks about the conversations and player development. I just want to do that because Eric Musselman was a former Golden State Warriors head coach. So
nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I didn't want to talk about the Warriors basketball. It's Star Trek made me do it because the Deep Space Nine showrunner's son met up with a head coach that coached the Warriors 20 years ago. I didn't want to bring that up. Anyway.
Well, it is part of his job, so
Totally. All right. That's it. Let's move on to the Star Trek Day trivia question of the day.
Yay.
Of the week? Yeah.
Of the week.
Both.
Okay. The question is, what Star Trek The Next Generation prop was designed using an automotive air filter and hairband?
Oh, okay.
Muhammad's already getting that's what I was thinking too. But it's what about the air filter?
The banana clip.
Yeah.
Well, because of the
yeah.
Is it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is it
Spoiled.
Resican flute? A. Is it B, Geordi's visor? Is it C, positronic brain? I guess that's Data's. Is it D, warp coil? Okay, everybody. What Star Trek The Next Generation prop was designed using an automotive air filter and a hairband? Is it A, Resican flute? B, Geordi's visor? C, positronic brain? Or D, warp coil? All right. And while everybody's thinking about that, yesterday, go check out the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, because yesterday we just premiered our review of, what was it? Season 6. Thank you. Episode 25. Deep Space Nine's The Sound of Her Voice, which is such a memorable and beautiful episode. So go check that out on the Seventh Rule. That's an entire review just for you. Tomorrow, Falling Tower. Did you know that we're in May still, whatever. Did you know that May is Falling Tower's fantasy month? And we are doing reviews of all fantasy shows, starting with on Star Wars Day, which was May the 4th. Lego Star Wars Droid Tales. Hey, sci fantasy, close enough. Okay, sci fantasy, and then we did The Legend of Vox Machina, which is fantasy, animated fantasy on Amazon. And then the next one, and that was with Sasha Kerbal. The Star Wars one was with Rico Anderson and Darth Shui. And then last week we did Wheel of Time with Star Trek 6 Klingon Darnell Davis. Tomorrow is the final day of Fantasy Month with She-Ra on Netflix. It's the 2020 version, or 2018 or whatever, the newest version of She-Ra. And the Princesses of Power. It's a lot of princesses, you guys. It's
nice.
It's a crew of nothing but princesses. I don't know how the hierarchy works out there, or who's bossing who around. If they're all princesses, they're all pointers and nobody that moves the things that they're pointing to, but we'll see how that works out. And you guys can see if you enjoy our review, joined by Melissa Longo, of course.
Hey.
There's also a princess. Also a princess.
That's true. She's also a princess. Yes. So check that out. That is going to premiere tomorrow, Wednesday, on the Falling Tower YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Falling Tower at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out. Then Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, the Seventh Rule will review the aforementioned 4th episode of Strange New Worlds. Can't wait for that, but you're going to have
wild.
Heck yeah.
Going to be a fun one. So that's at 6 p.m. Pacific time on the Seventh Rule channel. Then on Friday, of course, we have Star Trek and Chill Live right here on this channel, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We just chill. And Star Trek usually comes up, usually we talk about food and drink. Star Trek. And then lastly, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time, or 12 noon, not in the morning, Eastern time, we are on the Seventh Rule premiering our review of Deep Space Nine Season 3. That's the Season 3 review special. We're doing full seasons, and then we're diving in pointy ears first into Season 7. But that's at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So check that out. Whew. Too much good stuff. All right.
Love it.
The answer is, of course, Resican flute. Okay.
Positronic brain.
No. one of the options looks like a filter. Everything else is kind of
totally. It looks exactly like it. Yes. So yes, it is a visor, and I feel like every single person that answered got it correct. Glenn Iverson said 42. His was incorrect, but also correct. Linda Anderegg, Glenn Iverson, DJ Kitty Cat, Donnie Pearson, David Gregory kind of answered correctly. War Dog Heim, Scott Jensen got it very wrong. Maybe purposely.
Phaser rifle.
Yeah. But of course, and Robert Kaiser says visor, of course. I don't think so. I think he was being silly. Okay. That's it. Meteorologist Katie, can you let everybody know, should you choose to be found on the internet, where would they look?
I think we're past that point. If you want to find me, you can. I'm at weather_Katie. That's on Twitter. That's on TikTok. That's on Facebook and Instagram. Stop by, say hi. I get bored a lot, as I've mentioned. So please say hi, please.
With so many random.
I've just been hitting stagnant parts because my co-anchor, Brandy, we both work in broadcast news, and we're both just slowly dying of burnout. So we'll get back on that soon. Little asterisk next to soon.
Melissa Longo, what are you burning out on, and where can people find you should you choose to be found?
I don't know what I'm burning out on. Crazy life. But you can find me on the social media at Melissa Longo, on the YouTube at Melissa Longo, sometimes on Falling Towers like tomorrow, and the seventh rule, this place, in other places. Yay.
Well worth following.
And what about you, Dr. Muhammad Noor? Ooh, new songs too.
Oh yeah. That's all. I'm at Mafnoor, MAF like Frank, and like November OOR on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and on YouTube as Biotrekkie, BIOTREKKIE.
Woo!
Excellent. Everybody at home, you can find me right here on the Virtual TrekCon channel and podcast. You can also find me on Falling Tower. Just type in Falling Tower on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. Or on social media if you'd like, unless we're talking TikTok. I don't think Falling Tower
do well on TikTok. I think you do well.
I don't even, my favorite joke is to say the only TikTok I know is Wintergreen. But anyway, so.
You could do all your intros from Watch the First, the intro things you have before the music. Those would work well on TikTok.
Those are
you don't like orange or cinnamon?
I do. I was lying for the benefit of the joke.
Oh, gotcha.
I like them all. Sorry, Tic Tac. I like all your flavors. Here's my address. No, and you can also find me on, of course, the Seventh Rule. So please go check that out. That's 7THRULE with a THE before all of that, and a youtube.com/before all of that. And so make sure to check that out while Katie eats her weird long shaped
There's no way to be quiet with this. I just back away from the mic.
Wait, what is it?
So it's like a wheat thin cracker.
Oh yeah,
it's
you
handmade.
But
is it a Will Wheat Thin?
God. So Katie, on in the chat, Dave Gregory, who by the way is awesome, says, "Love your energy, Katie. Don't burn out."
Oh,
yes. Burn out.
Don't burn out is something I told myself back in March. We're past that. We're riding on rims right now, but it's fine. Wow. We're still riding. That's all that matters.
Donnie Pearson says, well, guys, I must go now. Thank you all for another great stream. Till next we meet, may you and yours live long and prosper. Be smart and stay safe, everyone. So we agree with that. We got to go to, hey, if Donnie's leaving, then what are we even doing here anymore? Yeah. Thanks very much. I think that's about it, right, guys? So go check out all those videos, Random Fandoms and Biotrekkie and The Admiral and Walking Art made by Melissa.com. And until then, hey, when you're looking for Will Wheat Thin jokes, put it on the main viewer.